Wednesday. It's January 16th, and the topic of this week's Attract Pre-Sold Clients live stream is actually one that is not only exciting because of the content, not only exciting because of the information that I'm going to be sharing with you, but more so exciting because I've got a special guest that I'm going to be bringing on here in just a few moments. I'm waiting for the technology to kind of catch up to bring everybody into this in real time here. And what it comes around to, as I click a button off to the side, there we go, now we're good. What it comes around to is that so often as business owners, we accidentally end up becoming invisible. And I found that people often become invisible for either one of two reasons. Reason number one is something that I've now nicknamed the content confetti cannon. You're blasting stuff out to the world in hopes that it will help you grow your business. And just like confetti, it hits the ground and nobody picks it up, nobody reads it, nobody interacts with it, no one watches it, and ultimately no one buys from it. And I found that's about 30 to 40% of the crowd that usually is here at these events. Meanwhile, the other bigger chunk is its invisibility out of fear and terror of doing it wrong. To which, let me just take a quick moment here and just point out, if you get your messaging slightly off, worst case scenario, they're not going to show up to your house with torches and pitchforks. Instead, though, let's get people actually engaging with what you do and our big promise, helping them to sell themselves into what you do even before you make a sales offer. And I am crazy excited to have a good friend here who has been recently working with us too. Joel Harrison is on with us now. I was about to say Illinois, but you're actually in Georgia now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Just moved. Been here for about a year now.
Cool. Cool. And I'll let you kind of take the stage here for a quick moment and introduce yourself. Tell us what problem you solve for people and give us a little bit of detail of specifically what you do.
Yeah. So I'm a dog trainer. I specialize in big behavioral issues, so aggression, anxiety, reactivity, over arousal. I specialize in big dogs that can create big problems. And I've been doing it for about 7 years. Just started my own business about a year and a half ago. It's been going really well, but it was time to, actually do the thing, get it moving, make some money, I guess.
Well, I'd be curious just to go deep into that for a quick moment because sometimes it's the here's the thing that I'm already doing, but I'm not bringing in the people that I want. And sometimes it is the hey, here's what I want to get started in doing. Can you walk us through, and this may be going back further in time, what was kind of that decision point? What is it about what you do that clearly became this passion to go, I want to go this direction now?
Um, Really just the more that I worked with really difficult dogs and the more that I really saw the relationships that we could build between those owners and the lives that we could improve, the more that I wanted to help, the more I wanted to learn. And then pretty soon you trip and fall into you need more knowledge. You can't help that one. You need more knowledge. You missed on that one. And then now I've built it all to where I have a really nice, I call it a quiver of arrows, honestly, because sometimes when I don't know what's going on, I grab one and I shoot it and I go, that didn't work. Let's try this one. That didn't work. Let's try this one. And I have a big list of things and I can help as many dog owners and dogs as possible, which
And there's a
is my goal
special
to not leave those last few out.
there's a special guest poking his head in. I can see if I'm guessing right here. I'm
Matt,
seeing it.
yeah, I didn't know you guys could see him. That's one of my board and trains right now. Moose. He's a year-old doodle. He pulls and jumps and bites and like not hard, just nippy nippies.
Yeah.
So he'll be here for 10 days and then he'll go back home and be nicer to his kids and his family.
Now, here's the thing to highlight, though, which is that this is where some people could hear this at this point and go, oh, okay, so this is like an in-person service, but you have elements of this you do online, correct?
Yeah, I can do the lesson process online the same way that I can do it in house. I don't usually do a lot of like take the leash. I let the owners do that themselves. So it transfers pretty well to online. And then I would like to make that better over time with videos and documents and online modules and those kind of things.
Yeah, but I love this because you've taken a service that many people would go, oh, it has to be in person, it has to go this specific way. And cool angle inside of this is that, well, we don't need the dog responding necessarily to you. They need to be responsive to the owners, to the family that's around. So let's go back in time for a moment because, correct me on this, you were publishing content on a bit of a regular basis. Can you kind of talk through what some of that content was like, what kind of responses things were getting? Bring us into the before of this journey because we've already told everyone.
Yeah, so I've been building.
Yeah, go for it. Sorry, the
Um,
sounds overlap
I've been
sometimes. I don't mean to cut you
building
off.
a social media presence primarily on TikTok for about the last 18 months, give or take. And I do really well live. I train dogs live about 5 days a week. That does pretty well. It brings in viewers and followers, but it doesn't really produce any kind of income. I also have been really heavily posting, especially throughout 2022. The goal was post every day, actually 4 times a day. And I did not always reach that goal. It's a ridiculous standard to try and keep. And, you know, when you're doing all that and you're getting anywhere between 250 views and, you know, every once in a while you get 1,500 or 2,000, but there's so much going out and there's so much work into it that it was a lot. It feels good. It helps. But it wasn't making money.
Yeah, and this is that part about the vanity metrics that we'd often get hung up on of, oh, it got this many comments, it got this many likes. Yet I tell the story of when we moved about 2 years ago. You can't go to the bank and like, I'd like to buy this house. Here are my YouTube views. I want that one. So we get caught up in some of these metrics that feel like we're being productive. And I'd kind of ask, you know, the big angle that we speak from is that of belief shifting persuasion, taking people where they are and adjusting the way we talk about what we do so that that audience then sell themselves into what you're doing. Can you talk, you know, in terms of this idea of shifting that messaging even before we officially began together? What did you see that was different of the post 4 times a day just to get it out there versus now there was a very specific covert goal inside of that? What about that would you say grabbed your attention?
I think that it's just really hard to keep that kind of progress up. Like, you know, making content takes time, it takes effort, and then if you are social media and you're going back and forth with the internet, you know, you're responding to comments, not all of them are good. So it's all like an emotional toll as much as just a time toll. And so getting more out of less, and even some of the farther steps that I see for that are coming in the future is just wonderful. This particular post that we spoke about has given me as much as I've gotten in a whole week many times.
Yeah.
And it's kept me busy. And it's been so like, I haven't really, there's been a couple of days where I haven't had the time to make the content. Just fine.
That's one of those big things. And the joke is that either I need to stop saying this out loud or print it on purple t-shirts and mail it to everybody. You'll soon become amazed how we can get away with so much with so little. And it's not to say we're shortchanging or not giving people enough. It's instead putting that emphasis in the right places, how we grab the attention, how we bring them specifically into a narrative. We've got a pretty good sized audience with us here live right now. I'd be curious to hear from those of you that are watching live. Drop a comment down below And let us know if this is resonating with you, that again, it's easy for other people to say, oh, just post every single day, just keep putting yourself out there. And it kind of goes to what Joel was referencing a moment ago of let's go for that quality rather than that quantity. And by doing so, we're dialing in that message, getting people to actually engage with something that's meaningful to them. And then by doing so, well, we'll tell the rest of the story as we go through this. So kind of walk us through. I think it was like only the second post you made based on some of the principles we shared. If you could call out what the biggest change was from the before version to what happened even as early as last week, from your perspective, what was different about the production of that, let's say? The messaging, the production.
Of those two pieces?
Of the difference between what you did in the past versus what you recently did, which is the story of why we're here.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, like I would have made the same piece of content the first minute of it, and I just would have let it sit without a call to action on it. Mm-hmm. And it would have been a good piece of content. I'm sure that it would have gotten a good handful of views. I'm sure it would have gotten a good, handful of comments, but it wouldn't have spurred folks to go, maybe I am ready to work on my dog. Maybe I do need to talk to somebody.
I'm curious to ask this. I've already got a feeling. I love it. We're seeing it in motion in real time. No, it's that. So I see a comment here. It's just showing Facebook user right now about, too much posting. Who has the time for that? And again, it's easy to point the finger and go, oh, just do that. Put yourself out there. And a lot of people out there have this problem, this sort of block around, well, I don't want to make the offer. I don't want to come across as salesy. And the key thing is realizing that if we're actually creating engagement with people, if we're actually creating a true connection with them, and you've already got the proof of what you do, if it truly does deliver on the promise that it makes for people, how dare you not give them the next logical step? It's that moment when these days it's weird if you go to a concert and here comes the last song, they go, thank you, good night, and then the house lights turn on, you're like, all right, they're kicking us out. Versus usually someone backstage doing or I forget who it was that I saw in concert. Hey everybody, this is when I'd usually walk off stage and pretend I'm done and then come back for an encore, but I sprained my ankle last week, so here's 2 more songs. But this aspect of, would you say it was an emotional shift to be okay giving that call to action, or would you say it was more of the tactics of how to actually do that in a way that people then follow through with it?
No, I think for me, it was tactics.
Yeah.
Because I understand, and again, you hear me saying like post 4 times a day. And if anybody like that's obviously comes from, Gary Vee, and I follow a lot of what he does. And he says like, give. And then there is a time to ask. And like, when you go like, you have the right to ask when you've done all this. The way that I built this channel is a resource. Like I am not often asking for things. I'm usually going, here's how you do this. And dog training shouldn't be a privilege. If you want to pay me, then I'm happy to do that. But if not, I understand a lot of people don't have any money. And so like, here's a resource. So like, here's the how to make that not look greasy. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it felt better. It made sense.
Yeah. You're saying it felt better to then actually give the invite.
Yeah. Because of the way that it was because of the way that I presented it, it just felt better. I mean, it still felt like a commercial, but it felt like that's fine.
There's an aspect to this which I love to highlight, which is that people are smart. And they realize this person, you already know where I'm going here. They already realize this person's probably doing this because it's connected to a business. It's connected to this. And this is that thing to call out where so often, sales gets a bit of a bad reputation. oh, I don't want to make an offer because I'm going to come across as this way. And instead, the reality hits that if we're actually bringing people into that narrative, activating that belief shift on the inside, it becomes we've earned the right to actually make that offer. And again, it even feels a little bit disconnected if we don't give that next logical step in the journey. And it's again, it's the end of the show, and people want more of that. And especially with social, and especially on a platform like TikTok, which I would say is clearly the right platform for what you do, being as visual as it gets around to we've provided a narrative, and there's some that are just there for the entertainment. And there's some that it's the systems, the algorithms rewarding them by going, hey, you want more of this. Here's this guy, Joel. Here's what he does. Check this out. And suddenly, here's the way that you've opened up this new way of looking at the world. Love it. Here's the new way that they're looking at the world. They've now aligned that with you. And that's where it truly becomes the how dare you not give that next offer? How dare you not give that invite here? So here was this post, grabbed the attention in a new way, brought them into a narrative, gave the call to action. Can you get a little bit specific with us in terms of what the response was that's come from that, even as of right now? Still early in the posting of it, but talk about some of the responses that you got. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote it down.
Oh, if you don't, you can't manipulate it. Love it.
I posted that TikTok 6 days ago, I think, which was also only 6 days after I joined the program. It's gotten 1,370 likes, 118 total comments.
Nice.
Now, 41 of those comments are the name of the dog, which was like the gateway to allowing me to DM them, right? 8 consults virtually, 1 consult live. And then so far I've sold one of those consults for $1,000. So I'm like super, super happy with that. And I've got a couple of things left on the table. Of course, a couple of people I can check back in with, but I mean, I posted it 6 days ago and I woke up this morning with 5 leads.
Yeah. I love that so much.
And I did put, just for transparency, I did put $20 behind it. So the second day that it went out, right? General TikTok strategy in my head is if something does well, throw some money behind it and see if it'll do better, right? But I haven't. I got a better return than TikTok said I would.
Yeah.
And then it's kept going, and I haven't needed to put money behind it. So
you just highlighted something that's a whole conversation I had. You know, when we do these, we make an invite. You can see in the comments attached to this, we kick off everything we do with what we call a client attraction audit. I love the sounds. It's a quick meeting. If you're someone who's not yet working with us, it's about helping you to diagnose exactly why the messaging isn't yet working and offer specific suggestions on what needs to happen to then actually gather that audience and then get them taking action. I think this will work. This is a different platform than what we normally use, but there's a link in the description there we go. If you go to connect.attractpresoldclients.com, you can see a video that tells a little bit more about what we do and how we work. It's actually a done with you consulting program. And there's a video you can then grab a specific time on our calendar for that meeting. The key thing here, though, is that engagement leading to something. And what Joel just talked about, where most people try to begin this conversation is, oh, I just need better SEO. Oh, I just need to pay for ads. And we don't ever intend this to be like a gotcha. But it's that, and I was more guilty of this than most here, is that in most cases, if we throw money at something and it's not been tested, it produces a reliable response. It amplifies the zero that we're already getting. So I love the fact that, okay, this one's getting some traction. Let me throw some money behind it. If it's Facebook, there's this boost post option. If it's something that's getting attention, it's the, oh, cool, let's put some ads behind this and just pay for some more sets of eyes to come through it. I love something that you said though, which is transparency here. Those of you here with me live in the comments, we all despise that. Here comes the cold message. You know, you get the Facebook friend, and suddenly, wait for it, bing, there's that message, and then they're going, hey, check out my website. Hey, look at this, look at that. And instead, this more intent-based way of getting people to metaphorically and literally raise their hands and say, I want more of this. I'd be curious, it's only been 6 days. In consulting, conversations really become that currency, and this has activated a bunch of conversations. One is converted now for a good amount of money. Many of these conversations will continue. Can you notice any difference in the actual engagement with people that you've had from those that have responded so far?
I notice a difference in the way that I'm speaking to people, because you've kind of started to, as we started to move through that process, you've kind of given me some bullet points, a way to sum up a little bit what I'm saying. I need a lot of work on that still because I talk too much, but it's already starting to go like, oh, here's a little bit more concise way to speak on this that hopefully is better understood for my clients or my prospective clients. It makes more sense. So
yeah, there's
I talk a lot and confuse a lot of people, so I'm trying to stop doing that.
It's that big conversation, just as a preview for those that haven't yet chatted with us. Most often we make that mistake of putting out content based on what's important to us. And the things that excite us as the business owner are not the things that are exciting the audience. So a big thing is shifting it and really just taking the guesswork out of, here's the things I can say, and now there's an audience. Here's the things I can say, and now they go past that opening few seconds and we stop the scroll and they're actually engaging. Let's talk about the one that has booked so far, where that went from DM chat to now, was it phone call? Was it Zoom? What was the actual?
No, it was video chat.
Yeah.
So DM to video chat, and especially since these things are going to be working in that manner, if they have a question about how does the lesson go grab your dog and we'll go through a couple things real quick. And then they can see if they enjoy that format or not. But yeah, it was all tried to stay in the realm of TikTok, which is annoying because TikTok doesn't want you to leave. So links are weird and stuff. But you know, you just let them know to copy and paste it, and yeah.
Yeah. And I love what you just said there, because so often it's people play the game of, yeah, but you can't do this there. Yeah, but you can't do that there. And yes, you can. It's a matter of engaging people into that world, connecting with them on that deeper level. And then as that messaging is dialed in, here's the next logical step. So then I know we're just kind of getting started inside of all of this. If you could pinpoint, for those that are listening to this and watching this, that maybe there is a hesitation in even putting the message out there, or maybe it's the hesitation as to, yeah, but if I make the offer, I'm going to come across as salesy. What would you say to that audience who's like on that more hesitant, held back side of things?
I mean, you want me to be honest?
I'll bring it.
Nobody gives a shit. Right? Like think about this. Like, so first of all, think about any content that you've ever made and like how many people have seen it. You know, I've spent days working on content pieces before, posted them, and get a like from my mom. You know what I mean? So like, chances are if you put something out, nobody's going to see it anyways.
Yeah.
And that is a good way to go about it, because you're going to put out you know, it's a learning process. So the first couple pieces of content that you make, you're going to have to, it's a learning process. You're going to have to practice, right? And I've been doing that piece for a long time. And the thing that really made that piece happen for me is that like nobody cares. And if people like want to argue on the internet or whatever, if you're like me and part of your personal growth is to ignore that, you have to learn to do that. But also as well, like nobody cares. If you put a piece of content out that sucks or that's controversial and like you can either delete it or just let it go off into the ethers. Unless you're running for office, it's never going to matter.
Although a friend of mine did run for Congress, won. And the turning point of this election, though, was when his opposing candidate found the photo. He's a man, rather skinny, and it's him playing beer pong in college with his shirt up like this, like he's flashing. And they tried to turn it into a smear campaign. And he goes, so 3 quick things. 1, 25 years ago. 2, yes, I did used to have hair. And 3, some of us actually had friends in college. Can we move on now? And that shifted the election in his favor. He might actually be watching right now, I'm realizing. No, it's what you said, though, that so often, you know, when we have conversations with people, sometimes it's the, oh, but I can't do that. I can't. And the reality is, I mentioned this before, they're not going to show up with torches and pitchforks. Worst case scenario is insignificance. However, I'd rather have you in that category than complete inaction. And the key, though, is, again, figuring out these pieces of that persuasive puzzle so that now we stop them in their tracks. Now they actually engage with the thing. Now they're actually attaching their internal desires to what you're talking about. And even better, when you've earned the right to give that call to action, which in the story was the bigger turning point, and I'll just leave it cryptic for now, the wonderful creative way how you did that is for now, they're drawn specifically to you. It's not turning into, wow, this guy Joel was great. Let me go to Barnes & Noble and now buy this book for $20. Because they've now attached that outcome specifically to you. And that's why they're taking that action. That's why they're actually engaging. I got to thank you so much for coming on and sharing this, because while it may be the start of a bigger journey here, it's really amplifying the value of taking the guesswork out and just taking action toward it. And my personal highlight was the black and white composition notebook off to the side. This is the backstory of a lot of what I teach. I'd go to the networking event and I was pounding the pavement, putting in a ton of time, and little Olympus tape recorder, if you remember those tiny ones, in like the jacket pocket of my suit. The suits have not been unpacked since we moved to Florida 2 years ago. And it was, when I said it this way, I had a line of people wanting to speak to me. And when I said it that way, I was helping clearing the tables at the end of the networking event because no one wanted to talk to me. And it was never the, oh, these people are stupid, they don't want what I do. It was instead, what was the formula inside of it? What was the way that the narrative brought them inside, activated a belief shift, and had them go, I got to talk to this guy. And it became even better when it was like, you know what, let's branch this out, bring this into other markets, other industries. Dog training, clearly. And by doing so, it's creating that bond specifically to you. So, Joel, thank you so much for popping on with me here, sharing your story. I'm seeing a bunch of comments popping up here. I love this. The I can't do that translates to the how can I do that? Love this. Bravo. Just do it anyway. W. Clement Stone predates Napoleon Hill. Nerding out here at the end of this. Predates Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And part of the original movement of what became personal development was this like CEO of a company that would just train his people to just walk around and just say 3 words. Do it now. When you're stuck, well, just do it now. Like, you'll figure it out as you go. What should we do about this? Do it now. And as we invoke that mindset, you know, one part of it is the taking action. One part of it is the clarifying the pieces of the puzzle. If people want to find you, how can they track you down? How can they see more of what you do?
It's pretty simple, honestly. TikTok's where I'm most active. Scoob and I. My dog's name is Scooby. So me and him, Scoob and I, SCOOBANDI. Do that on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. You shall find me.
Awesome. So good to have you on here. You and I will continue this chat here as we wrap this up here as well. And everyone else, thanks for joining us. Do us a favor in the comments down below. let us know what your takeaways have been. That so often we get caught up in this, the what if I make the offer? What if I offend? And the bigger part of the story was just the putting the message out there. And the key is providing value in such a way where the audience clearly sees the value of then continuing on. Rather than, oh, that's nice, he seems friendly, click, and they're off to whatever other thing. Instead, this just summed it up, right for them, not for me. And if this is something y'all want some help with, we kick off with something that we call a client attraction audit. If you're someone who's not yet working with us, you can see the links connected to this. I think I've got my fancy thing here. We made it easy. Connect.attractpresoldclients.com. That'll bring you to a page. There's a video that tells more about what we do, explains a bit more of what I mean by belief shifting persuasion, and really also helps to shift the understanding as to what it really takes to dial in the journey to have people wanting more from you. Click that, grab a time on a calendar. It's going to connect you with Scotty, who's on our team. She's our lead influence specialist to help to diagnose exactly what's not working right now in your marketing and your messaging. And we are predominantly on that organic route. Prove it to work so that then, like Joel's story, now we can boost from there. So again, check out that connect.attractpresoldclients.com. Grab a time on our calendar, change your words, change your business, change your life. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I've already got a request from this. We will get the replay of this posted very shortly, and keep that commentary going. Let us know what your takeaways were. And again, get out there. Impact is created by influence. And it's through that impact, that's what leads to that income. Get out there, change some lives, change some belief systems, activate the desire for those people to go further with you. We'll talk soon.